This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search for my site. I will speak of these people as women. That is how they're described on Twitter, and that's how they describe themselves on Twitter in their profiles. I have a reason to believe these are authentic, not real precise, question the validity of their names and so on. I think their locations are not specific locations, whatever, but I do believe these are women behind the profiles as they've described themselves in the front. This is an exchange last night that happened over me following a trend on Harambe, which is the gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo that was killed by authorities in a, I'm going to use the word necessary effort to save a child, a necessary action to save a child. That necessary was I'm about to say I know what the problem of what spewed this anger last night on the internet, and necessary, unnecessary oversimplifies it. People were outraged, and the outrage turned into a trend, and I got caught up in it. I was called by these two women, two completely separate occasions, both linked to me following this trend. One a troll and a weirdo, and the other something else. No, that's it. Troll and weirdo. I'm sure that's not it. There's some more, but those are the words that I pulled out for the title of my hangout. Troll and weirdo. So the purpose of this video is to tell the story behind the tweets. I'm going to attempt to not editorialize. I will editorialize in text in my own time. I will say this. I will attempt to clarify what I was putting the sentiment, the thought, the pattern behind my tweets. And when it comes to the women's tweets, I will just read their tweets. So again, if I do this as I intend to do this hangout, I will not editorialize. My opinion will not be in here. I will explain the sentiment, the pattern, the words, what I was doing behind my tweets, and I will just read the tweets of the women. Again, I'm called a troll, I'm called a Twitter. These are obviously not happy words for a young woman to be using to a middle-aged man when you're that middle-aged man they're targeting. So this is not a celebration by any means. At the same time, whatever is a wound or any kind of hurt will attempt to not be expressed here. It is clear I've already done it. However, I will minimize it again. Listeners, when I share my screen, I have a history of problems with the video. So in theory, I'm going to show you 7 tweets, 7 screens that capture a series of tweets. And I have a history of the screen share failing. If you listen to my words and you find this interesting enough to give it another click, realizing that my screen share failed, it is this easy. I have arranged these in a public album on Flickr, which with one click easily becomes a slideshow. So to do that, you Google search Tom Duty, just like this. You go to my About Me, and then to Flickr, and my freshest album is called Twitter Troll Weirdo. That would be me in this context. Again, I repeat, I'm about to share my screen. If it fails, you're going to know it very soon. You're listening to my voice now, and what you're going to see next is my shared screen, which is going to be this Flickr slideshow. If you don't see the Flickr slideshow, that means the visual has failed. If you seem to care enough to be listening at this point, to continue to listen, you will want to navigate to my Flickr channel and find this slideshow that I'm going to attempt to show you, so you can do it the lazy way. But if not, you can do it the more active way. Screen share now. Okay, listeners, if the screen share has worked, you're looking at a screen that says Twitter troll weirdo. Up here, just below the cloud, is somehow an icon that's supposed to represent a slideshow, and I should be able to pause. I can't. Okay, so this is Paige Olson. I find her tweet. By the way, the pinned tweet is just what showed in the screen capture. It is not relevant. Those of you that don't know pinned tweet on Twitter, there's a pinned tweet. So this young woman wants that tweet to be pinned on her profile. So it is not timely. It is not relevant to the Harambe trend. The tweet that started this engagement is on the next screen. So anyways, here's Paige. She, of course, I find this in reverse order. I'm presenting it in this order because it makes more sense. I find her tweet, then I go to her profile. So here's what her profile says. Her name is Paige Olson, and she uses this V with a circle, and she's Paige Olson 27, arroba Paige Olson 27. So again, this is what I mean by location. I don't know what Crowhaven Road, Chance Harbor is. If I Googled that on a map, I sort of think I wouldn't find it. I didn't do it. I don't know. But so in other words, I believe this is a woman named Paige Olson. However, I'm just interpreting what's here. Fluent in sarcasm and condescension. So, listeners, this is relevant. This is a self-described woman. Fluent in sarcasm and condescension. This is where the beginning of me getting into trouble, because I tried to describe her as she describes herself, which is what I do here. So anyways, here's her tweet. This again is the listeners, Harambe. If you don't understand Twitter trends, I can't believe you'd even still be listening now. I can't believe anyone would care about what I'm saying now if they don't understand Twitter trends. So if you're listening and you think what I'm saying is not, you can't understand it, then you need to take a minute to understand Twitter trends, or you need to just realize you're not going to understand what I'm saying, or you need to realize that you're just going to listen and you pick up a couple things. You really don't care about about understanding this more thoroughly. So you either want to understand it more thoroughly and you got to understand Twitter trends. You already understand Twitter trends and you're going to get it. So here's a Twitter trend. Harambe. So I'm following that trend and I find this tweet. I think it's interesting. My eyes immediately go to the F word. So she writes, Paige Olson tweets, fucking assholes killed an innocent gorilla because some dumb bitch couldn't keep her kid out of the enclosure. Listeners, if you don't know this story, a young child, a toddler, and this was truly a toddling kid. The kid could barely stand up. You know, if he was walking around the living room, he would certainly be falling on occasion. That's my assessment of his agility in the cage. The videos leave that. Who looks graceful when they're in the cage with a gorilla? Certainly not a toddler. So here I continue. Dumb bitch, in the context of this tweet, she is no doubt referring to the mother. So she is obviously taking the sides of Harambe and trashing the mother, and the idea that this kid could have been killed by the gorilla seems to be of little concern for her. So I write insincere. So I changed, again, listeners, in her profile, she calls herself sarcastic. So I refer to sarcastic as insincere. If you're sincere, then you're not sarcastic. If you're sarcastic, then you're insincere. That's my little own twist of words. I don't really see a lot of people switching sarcasm to insincere. However, I think it's logical. So I call her insincere instead of sarcastic. I call her condescending instead of the version of condescending. Condescending. That's condescending. Instead of the version of the word she uses. And then, of course, she presents herself as a woman, so I call her a woman. There is her Twitter ID. And now I summarize her tweet. So right here, she says, fucking assholes killed innocent gorilla. Again, we're talking about Harambe. And she also calls the mother a bitch. So I try to say what Paige says. And I say, fuck to the parents, Okay, I guess I don't say anything about this dumb bitch. So basically, I tried to take her tweet. Now I'm stuffing in there who she is and what she's tweeting. I obviously have less words than she has because I have to be more efficient. She only has Paige Olson. That doesn't take any space in her tweet. Her tweet is all about her opinion. I need to condense her opinion because I'm also going to say who she is. She is a woman. She's self-described insincere. Again, that's my translation. And she is condescending. Again, that's my twist on the word condescending. That's condescending. That's my twist on the word condescending. So that's what I do. And that is a pattern for me. And believe it or not, not everyone reacts negatively to this. I'm going to say a lot, certainly in the double digits, not in the triple digits. I have double digits people that think this is, they like it, they retweet it. No, I'm probably in the triple digits, certainly not in the 4 digits, way past double digits. People that respond to this favorably. Obviously, this woman has, as you see in this third one, she responded unfavorably. This I didn't discover till this morning. So, again, I don't know where this woman is. I don't know what time zone she's in, but whatever she did came after my bedtime or after I turned my attention away from Twitter. So she writes to me, that's me, near Lincoln, and she says, I have no idea what you're trying to articulate, but from what I gleaned from your tweet, I don't give a shit. So she does take the time to reply to me to tell me she doesn't give a shit. Well, in the context of Twitter, if you reply to someone, you are indirectly saying that you do give a shit. Again, that was my slipping into editorial. I'm attempting to not editorialize, so I continue to try to explain rather than editorialize. So anyways, that's what she writes. Obviously, she had a negative reaction to what I said, and that was the third, and that was her second. I can't count these tweets, but that's my third screen grab and the final of this Paige Olson. Again, another presents herself as a young, attractive woman. I'm a middle-aged man, and, somehow engaging on Twitter and finding that a young, attractive woman thinks I'm charming, that would be okay. This is obviously not a point to celebrate. In some sense, it's kind of fun, but it's not my purpose to be a pest. Although in this case, in the occasion of 2 women, that's exactly what they got from me. Troll, weirdo, don't give a shit, whatever. So this is not a point of celebration. I'm just trying to explain what happened. So here we go. Nikki Flex. She is called @ Marley _ Yabish. And I trust there's some meaning behind that. I can't guess what it is. I would guess her name is Nikki. Look at the picture. Yeah, it could be Nikki. And self-described overly aggressive. Now again, I am concluding this Nikki, this is a feminine profile, this is a woman. It is, gender obscurity is more and more common even when you see the person. There's a lot of obvious women walking around that have penises, and the news will tell us that's more and more common. There's a lot of people we mis-ID as women that are truly not really fully women, cross-dressers and all that sort of thing. So even when we see people, we don't know if they're men or women. This person, I believe, is a woman only because this person presents him or herself as a woman. It's important because I refer to her as a woman. She's overly aggressive. She's a basketball fanatic, and she does use the acronym NBA. She also says she's an NBA commentator, but she doesn't give any references to who she's a commentator for. So I didn't use NBA Media Pro, which I would have if she had like, radio initials or something. So here we go. This is my tweet. She, again, puts her, there's Harambe. That's what got her into my attention because I was following that trend. The animal was killed on, the gorilla was killed. Today is Memorial Day. The gorilla was killed, I think, on Saturday. So this is Sunday night when it's trending. I was sitting here at home with my wife. Obviously, I have time to burn. My wife's working on the holiday, and everyone else is doing family holiday things. So, so I have time to burn. as I was saying, this is the tweet that got my attention. It was in the trend, and Nikki writes, "You animal lovers disgust me." So she's clearly taking the side of the gorilla, so it seems. It almost seems like you'd rather hear the little boy die, human life, rather than the fucking gorilla, Harambe. It is worth noting that the gorilla, Harambe, sounds masculine. I think the gorilla is a male. So I'm going to use the word handsome. The gorilla is unquestionably handsome. And there is a photogenic picture of the gorilla, obviously not manhandling, not gorilla handling the boy, but like this posed, like if gorillas went to high school, this would be the gorilla senior picture. The fur is groomed, and it's got an expression on his face of statesmanship. It's really a remarkable picture. And it is the fucking gorilla that died, according to Nikki. So I write, in response to her tweet, again, I did this in an hour. I did this probably 20 times. Nikki and Paige are two of them, the only two that did any retweet anything at all. And I write, overly aggressive NBA woman. Again, this is relevant to how she describes herself. There's her Twitter ID. Preferred dead boy to Harambe. Again, this is very clear in my way of thinking. I am asking a question. I am not making an accusation. And I use the word disgusting. So I'm asking this question. If they side against Nikki, then they are disgusting. I am trying to tweet what Nikki has tweeted. And I read it now, and I don't think, in my pattern of doing this, I don't, as I see doing it, and I will do it in the future, I don't see that I made any mistakes. Again, the who she is stops here at the arroba. That's her Twitter ID. And then I begin here. Preferred dead boy to Harambe. Preferred dead boy to Harambe. In other words, I am trying to say what Nikki was saying. In other words, she is speaking to the people she's seen. She is speaking to the people she's seen in tweets saying that they side with the gorilla. And I'm trying to tweet what she's tweeting by saying, you prefer dead boy to Harambe? And I ask the question, and then I say disgusting. I believe this screen, you know, if I were somehow brought up, if there was some Twitter troll, drop dead, get lost, a weirdo court, and somehow the justice system would have to determine if I was a Twitter troll weirdo and I should, I keep forgetting the other thing she said, get lost, I think. Then I would present this and say, wait a minute, I'm saying what she's saying. Well, she didn't see it that way. Nikki comes back and says, are you a fucking troll or just dumb as shit? This is not two good choices, you know? As I'm a father, and when my kids were young, I always tried to, hey, this is ever-present parenting advice. Give your kids good choices. Do you want to go to the zoo or do you want to go to the art museum? These are nice choices. Well, she's asking me the question, am I a fucking troll or just dumb as shit? Well, Nikki, I will speak to you now. I don't like the choices because I deny being a fucking troll and I deny being dumb as shit. But thank you for asking in such a polite way. That was editorial, and I'm trying not to do. Where did I say I wanted the little boy dead? Okay, where am I saying that I say she wants the little boy dead? I believe I could trace his bag in a Twitter troll, dumb shit, court of law, and I could clear myself. And then I get, you are a fucking weirdo, get lost. Again, the editorial, I'm not trying to leave, you know. It'd sort of be nice when I engage on Twitter with strangers that young women or anyone, I'm going to use the word charming, so I'm kind of not trying to charm men. That is more of a, for a heterosexual man, charming would be an adjective I'd like to solicit from women, preferably heterosexual women. So yeah, it'd kind of be nice if someone thought I was charming. Well, you're a fucking weirdo, get lost. Okay, Nikki, I missed the target. So listeners, if I've kept anyone to this point, I will editorialize in text. So if the listeners at this point is not zero, which it really should be, quite honestly, but if you're still listening, you're listening for some reason. Maybe you just forgot to hit next button or pause or off or X out or shut down or whatever. If you're listening at this point, I will editorialize in text, and it will be more thoughtful than my blasting here. This has been time. Let me just, in summary, Harambe is an event in the Cincinnati Zoo. Harambe, that's H-A-R-A-M-B-E. H-A-R-A-M, it's like harem, which is the mating system of gorillas. They have harems. So it's Harambe, and I'm emphasizing the spelling because I had really tough time remembering it last night. So again, it's Memorial Day, which of course is a Monday, and it is I could be wrong on this, but I think the gorilla was shot and killed. The kid got into the area for the gorilla in the Cincinnati, Ohio Zoo, of course, United States, and then the gorilla was shot by authorities, shot and killed by authorities, and so now you got like 24 hours later, less than maybe 20 hours later, now it's the evening of the next day, which is kind of typical for these Twitter trends, and it spiked. It was near the top of the list when I was following it. H-A-R-A-M-B-E, Harambe, it's the name of the gorilla, very handsome gorilla, no doubt a loss. Who would rather have a child die? Some people. A lot of people would prefer to have the mother die. She was called a dumb bitch and other unfavorable, unflattering words. And I got some of those unflattering words directed at me, as you saw in this video. So again, this is Memorial Day 2016. These are events over the Memorial Day weekend. We are supposed to be memorializing our soldiers, our military, people who have served is who we remember today. And I'm barking about being called a Twitter troll and told to get lost, and a dead gorilla, and women who I set out to charm and I failed. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search from my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao.